Backpacking scams, dude. That's what we're gonna be talking about in this video. I made a post on my community tab and asked my amazing audience what they think the biggest scams in backpacking and backpacking gear are. And to nobody's surprise, because my audience is amazing, they're the best and you should join them if you haven't subscribed already, I got some amazing answers that made me think about a lot of things that I haven't really thought about that are kind of bullshit when it comes to backpacking and backpacking gear. So let's jump into them, dude. Brandon says that the biggest scam in backpacking is that ultralight packs can carry bear cans. Ooh, I agree with him. I think this is a total scam. Ultralight packs definitely cannot carry bear cans. Bears have just massive cans. But for real, I don't 100% agree with this. I will say that bear canisters don't always carry super great with ultralight packs, but it is doable. For instance, on the PCT last year, Flossie and I both used our ultralight frameless backpacks to carry bear canisters, and it was pushing it, I'm not gonna lie. The ULA CDT only has one strap on the top, and I found that when I first tried to use the bear canister, I filled it up with a bunch of food, and it was way too heavy to have on the top of my backpack. I was also hammered after drinking at Grumpy Bear celebrating the start of the Sierras, so I probably didn't think that one through too much. But I quickly learned that I just had to put hardly anything in the bear canister when I was carrying it with my UL pack, and then at night I would have to repackage all the food into the bear canister so those bears with their massive tits couldn't get it. All right, let's see what Phil thinks is the biggest scam in backpacking. YouTubers trying to sell me crap. Phil, I think that's a great one, and to show my appreciation, I would like to extend a personal invite for you to join my Patreon. And even if you're not Phil and you're interested, you can go to patreon.com/KyleHatesHiking. You'll get some bonus content, you'll get a direct line to me, and most importantly, you'll just feel nice and warm and fuzzy inside because you're supporting my content. It is honestly the best way to support this content. I recently passed 100 members on Patreon, so thank you so much to all of you who are already on there. I love you. If you want to help me reach my goal of 150 members, hit that link in the description. I had to, dude. It was too good of an opportunity. Honestly, I do understand, like, nobody likes being sold to, and there is a lot of that on YouTube. So I understand how it's annoying, but also being a YouTuber, I have a lot of sympathy for this. You're watching these videos for free, and so if you want to be able to continue to have high quality, good content at your fingertips to watch anytime for free, these creators need to be able to make some money. So while some YouTubers do take it too far, I don't know, it's just the trade-off. The content's free, so you're gonna get sold to a little bit. And by the way, guys, hit all of the links in my description. Sassy Susie says the biggest scam in backpacking is the gear police on the trail telling me the gear I have that I can't afford isn't good enough. So it feels like it would be better to not go out at all unless I can buy better gear. Sassy Susie, I'm sorry, I was drunk when I told you that stuff. No, for real. I don't want to discount this person's experience, like maybe they've had some bad interactions with people on the trail. I will say though, this seems a little bit dramatic to me. Like there's definitely people who are snobby about their gear. There's definitely people who will sometimes give unsolicited advice about gear, but I've never heard of somebody, and maybe this happens and I'm just not aware, but seriously, I've never heard of somebody on the trail going around telling people their gear isn't good enough. Like, this must be an exaggeration. Maybe it's not. Like, again, I'm not trying to discount this person's experience. Let me just say right here, right now, for everybody listening, I know I'm joking around a lot in this video, but with 100% sincerity, you can go out on the trail no matter what gear you have. Well, I mean, you have to have, like, you know, you gotta be safe. You can't go out there with like a JanSport backpack and a pair of flip-flops from Walmart. But as long as you have enough gear to keep you safe, it does not matter if it is the fanciest, the nicest, or the ultra-lightest, or whatever gear Dan Becker is using. Don't worry about people judging your gear. Go out there and have a good time. Mathias Matthew, I don't know how to pronounce this name, I'm sorry. The biggest scam in backpacking, according to this person, is ultralight tents. I think ultralight tents are so overrated. Z-Pack's $800 one-person tent, when you can buy just a normal freestanding tent for less than $300. First of all, this is a gross over-exaggeration. Z-Pack's tents are not $800. If you go on their website right now, you'll see that the Plex Solo comes in at a very affordable $600. All you have to do is just go a couple weeks without eating and you'll probably save about $600 on groceries, and then you can buy yourself a fancy Z-Pack's tent. For real though, yeah, a lot of Z-Packs and other brands too, it's not just Z-Packs, a lot of their DCF ultralight gear is very expensive. And to be honest with you, as someone who likes a lot of these brands, including Z-Packs, I really liked my Plex Solo on the PCT. I do wish that it was more affordable and cheaper. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I know exactly why it's so expensive. All I can say is that I think for some people it's not worth it, and for some people I think even though it is really expensive, it probably is still worth it. First of all, this just isn't any other tent. Z-Packs tents are some of, if not the lightest tents that you can buy, like full stop. And not just like an ounce or two lighter, these tents are significantly lighter than any freestanding tent. Like it's not even close. Like the Plex Solo is gonna be half the weight of a lot of freestanding tents. But for some people that doesn't matter. And so if you're like a casual backpacker, you only go out a few times a year, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that like you should definitely buy this really expensive tent. You probably shouldn't. I think that would, I mean, you can do whatever you want, obviously, but like maybe not the best move. But if you're gonna go out on a long through hike, or you're backpacking a lot, or you're just, I don't know, older, or you have injuries where it's really, really important to keep your pack light, then as long as you're not gonna have to sell a kidney in order to be able to afford it, I think it's probably a pretty good purchase. Dusty said the biggest scam in backpacking is polycro ground sheets, as you discovered last year. Yeah, I did discover this on the PCT last year. Polycro is not the move, at least not for a through hike. Lost Again with Jim said the biggest scam in backpacking is charging extra for seam sealing shelters. Dude, I agree with this so hard. You don't even understand how hard I mean, I agree with this. Not every company does this, thankfully, but I do know that there are some. For instance, I was doing some research on this and it looks like Tarp Tent charges you extra for seam sealing. They charge you extra for a seam sealing kit that they can ship with the tent. It's only a few bucks, but it's still bullshit. But then what's even more bullshit is they charge you a good amount extra to actually seam seal the tent themselves. And again, they're not the only ones that do this, so I'm not just trying to single them out. Well, I mean, I am singling them out specifically, but I'm just, there's other, okay, so anyways, this is so stupid. When you buy a tent, the tent should be waterproof. Isn't that the whole point of a tent? But they're like, no, you know, we're gonna sell you a tent that will leak at the seams unless you pay us even extra on top of, like, I'm so pissed off about this, dude. I might, you know what, I'm gonna write my senators. Harry has some interesting thoughts on backpacking gear scams. I think we scam ourselves by going cheaper and not getting what we really want. Then we wind up buying the better item and overall spending more money in the end. More expensive isn't always better, but it's all too easy to go cheap and regret it. This is a very, very good thought. I've done this exact thing before. When I first bought a camera to take backpacking, I almost bought the one that I'm filming on right now, but instead I bought a cheaper one. I used it for a little while, but the on-trail feet pics I was taking for my OnlyFans just weren't coming out very sharp, and so eventually I ended up just upgrading to this camera, and so I spent more money in the end. Classic example of that. Elliot said, it's a scam that ultralight is more expensive. In what world does buying and carrying fewer items add up to greater cost? Yes, I get that some ultralight stuff is insanely expensive, but that certainly is not unique to UL. Elliot, dude, let me tell you, I like this guy, man. Wow. I agree with this so much, and I've talked about this a little bit in some videos past. A lot of ultralight gear is super expensive, as we just talked about with Z-Packs, but there's also budget options that still don't weigh very much. And there's non-UL items that are very heavy that are also super expensive. And so ultralight does not always mean ultra expensive, especially because, as Elliot pointed out, one of the main principles of UL is just buying and carrying less items, therefore saving money. I kind of disagree with this next one. Tony said, it's a scam that tent ground cloths are sold separately from the tents. I don't know, like, I don't really think that's a scam. It kind of gives you the option on whether or not you even want a ground cloth in the first place, because like a lot of tents, you don't really need a ground cloth. Some you definitely do. And it also depends on what your particular gear and gear habits are. If you're just using a foam pad and you're careful with your gear, you probably don't really need one. And so I don't know. Tony, appreciate your comment, man, but I gotta disagree with this one. This person, whose username is just gibberish, said that they think Hyperlite mountain gear is a scam. It's overpriced gear for backpacking yuppies. Big money on marketing, but they rip their new technology off other companies like Z-Packs, Grand Gear, etc. I don't really know if they rip their technology off other companies. Maybe there's something I'm not aware of, but that seems a little exaggerated to me. But I'm not gonna lie, I think they're a little bit of a scam. Maybe not a scam, okay, that's a little harsh because I know a ton of hikers who have hiked thousands of miles with their Hyperlite mountain gear packs, who are very, very accomplished, very strong hikers who love that company. Like, there's a lot of these people out there. And I also want to be clear, I've never used one of their packs. So I feel kind of bad because I kind of just called them a scam, but like, I'm trying to be fair here. Maybe they're not a scam. I just think they're overpriced. So let's look at their backpacks here. Let's look at the Southwest. We're looking at $350 for this backpack, all the way up to over $400 depending on what size you get. Let's look at the smallest one here. So in theory, this should be the lightest. 40-liter pack. That's fairly small. My ULA CDT, for instance, is 50 liters. And this thing, we're looking at, 31 to 32 ounces for this backpack. You'd see this backpack and it looks like pretty UL, right? It's got like the Dyneema, it's got the roll top thing, no brain. It looks like a super light pack, but then you find out it weighs, 31, 32 ounces. These things are heavier than they look. I'm sure they carry pretty well. And again, I know a lot of people love these packs. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. And then let's look at their tents. Whew. $825, dude. Again, I know Z-Packs is really expensive too, but like this is actually $800 like that commenter said. And the thing is, I'm pretty sure this doesn't even come with the mesh. Like this is literally just a tarp basically. And then you have to pay extra for the inside. So $500 for the inside, $825 for the outside. Man, dude. I'm sure this is really rugged. I'm sure it's really lightweight, but I think this is honestly a scam. Like, how is nobody talking about this? That is absurdly expensive. I don't know, man. I'm sure there's more scams. Let me know what I missed in the comments. And if you watched this far into the video and you're not subscribed yet, dude, please hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get this channel to 100,000 subscribers. Help me reach that goal. I know most of you are not subscribed, so please subscribe. Man, 820. This can't be right. Did I screw this up? Is this actually real?